Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. This is Aussie Chris calling in, I guess, late for me, evening for you guys. It's kind of an interesting one. I'm not used to seeing two night games on a Saturday, but here we are. We've got Everton hosting Arsenal. I've seen some pretty cool photos of I believe it's the South Stand with the waves and the Everton crest. So that'll be a really nice picture for those that haven't seen it already. Going doing the rounds on social media. I imagine once people are in the stands, they'll continue with that. There's probably a good light show to tie in with that. And there's also another match coming on. I think it's Leeds are playing as well on this Saturday evening fixture. Well, welcome to Gaspipe. Mr. Blue Skies is in there early as well, giving the lineup. So I will talk to that as well. I'm not sure who else will be joining me, potentially Basil, but for now, it's going to be me and you guys in the chat, and potentially he jumps on later. So I will be interacting with you guys, having my little bit here. But as you know, talking about predictions and lineups, you can only talk to yourself for so long. Some people are really good at it. I'm okay, but doing 45 minutes before is quite a bit. So I'll probably do something around the 15 maybe 30-minute mark of show here. Really depends on who jumps on, but what I will do next is going into the starting lineups for Everton and Arsenal and go from there. So we'll start with Everton. We know we've got a few players out, a few players potentially coming back from injury. So we're expecting something a little different. And that's what we have. We have Dwight McNeil doing with his little salutations there. So instead of having Tyler Dibling come on with the absence of Illiman and Jai, we have Dwight McNeil coming in probably on the left side, but could be on the right to team with Jack Grealish. So the starting lineup is Jordan Pickford in goal, Jake O'Brien at right back, Tarkovsky and Keane through the middle there, Vitaly Mikalenko at left back again. And then we're going to be probably paired through the middle with James Garner and Tim Eric Burnham. Dwight McNeil going to be on the right side and Jack Grealish on the left. Charlie Alcaraz in the number 10 with Tiano Barry as our striker. And this will become quite evident here in a moment when we compare against the Arsenal lineup. Our bench looks drastically thin at the moment. So we've got two keepers again. We have Patterson, who I don't think has seen a minute in the Premier League this season, as our right back option. We have Beto in the 9, Tyler Dibling and is on the bench. Merlin Roll has come back into the fray, which is excellent. I don't imagine we'll see too many minutes from him, but at least he's a bench option. We have Adam Asnu. We have Reece Welsh as well as Campbell on the. So not too many players there that you'd expect to see many minutes. I see Beto, Dibling, and Roll likely to get some minutes. Patterson and Asnu would be emergency spots for injury, and then similar for Welsh, who would be probably coming in at centre back. And what I'm going to switch to now, which I think is a bit spooky, is looking at the Arsenal lineup. Yeah, they haven't been, I suppose, firing fully on all cylinders this season, but then again, they're consistent, defensively quite sound, and guess what? They're at the top of the league at this time of the year again. So they have David Raya in goal, Jurriën Timber coming in, slotting back to right back. I think Ben White was injured, so he's back to right back. Saliba is making an appearance again with, I think it's Hincapié as his pairing in centre back, and Calafiori is fit for them again and back into left back. They'll be paired probably through the middle with Zubamendi and Declan Rice. And then in the 10, they're probably going to have Martin Odegaard. And then on the flanks, they have Saka coming in on the right. And then the really scary one for us Evertonians is Trossard. Every time he comes to either Goodison Park or maybe Bramley Moore / Hill Dickinson, seems to score against us. So he's starting. Then they have Victor Gyökeres. And then on the bench, they have, I'm never going to pronounce this name, Arrizabalaga. I think he's their keeper. And this is where they're all, if you look at their depth, it's it's immense. Lewis Kelly, Norgard, Eze, Nwaneri, Marino, Martinelli, Madueke, Jesus. That is an amazing bench coverage at this time of the season, especially when you have AFCON and everything else, to have that level of squad available to them. So that's, I think, a huge component of what I'm worried about is, do we have the depth to take on this many high quality players, especially through their, if you're looking at their bench options. So we will, I'll go through the comments as well. Hello to David. Wormy's back. Evening. Yeah, so Wormy's making comments to having Dwight coming on. So I will talk to that as well, because I think, and I think Ryan's coming in as the follow Everton icon here as well, making the comments about at least no Gabriel, which is a positive. He is probably the most dangerous player on set pieces, but with Declan Rice doing the free kicks, or at least corners, let's say, they are still quite dangerous in those positions. When we think about who we're going to put in the replacement of Illiman and Jai, when I talked to Adam about this, I think it was like a week ago, I said I can't. Unfortunately, I could see it being Dwight McNeil, maybe not for his attacking prowess, but David Moyes will want positional and defensive solidity out of that wing position. Maybe if Dwight McNeil's on the right side, teeing it in with Jake O'Brien, maybe Dwight McNeil's goal is to be defensively disciplined, not going too far forward, and helping as best he can on that right side, trying to double up on what's likely to be their avenue in on goal through Leandro Trossard. So I think that's unfortunately the reason why they'll be bringing in Tyler Dibbling. I guess the other thing, unfortunately, is Dibbling hasn't hit the ground running. Part of it is, are you given time? Maybe it's a component of him being homesick, being a young lad, not from the area, still getting up to speed with the squad and the vibe, and building his confidence back up, now playing for Everton. But I really want to see him get his minutes. Maybe all you need is one goal to break the duck, I suppose, or just get his confidence back. Unfortunately, I don't think Arsenal might be that moment, but I can certainly see him being a bench option today. I see Beto coming on. I see probably 15 minutes for Merlin Roll, but I am and quite worried, and I might go back to that. Basically thinking, what is, let's say Everton are down 1-0, and I could certainly see that happening the way Arsenal have played against us in recent years, either home or away. What bench options do we have? If we start looking tired, looking out of options, who do we bring on? I see Beto, Merlin Roll, and Dibbling. And maybe I've missed one, but effectively we're very limited on options today. So if things go perfectly to plan and we can hold on for dear life and use our starting 11, maybe we're in for a chance. But that's where things get really swirly and a bit hairy to me, is the amount of adaptability and options that Arsenal are going to have on a match like this. Gas pipe's pretty positive, so that's great here as well. So expecting us to win. I could certainly see that happening. I just think the likes of the Element and Giants, and I know that sounds funny after his Man United moment, and people feeling, oh, we don't need Gana Gay and that type of antics, maybe, but the likes of a Gana Gay is just something on the depth here. Oh, you like this one? Yeah. I had basically all of my shirts were these the short sleeve ones. So last season I got the white shirt and the home blue for the long sleeves. Yeah. And we're talking from, I think, Ryan here as well. Tossard. Yeah. Okay. We'll count that as a spelling mistake, but I like it. So Leandro Trossard versus O'Brien/O'Brown is, I think, certainly a mismatch. And that's maybe a component right now of the squad depth, because I could easily see if we had more midfield options and Merlin Roll wasn't coming back from injury, or Kieran Dewsbury-Hall was fit and wasn't carrying that hamstring injury that we know unfortunately he has. Maybe you put James Garner to right back, and then you allow Kieran and Dewsbury-Hall to come in and give James Garner who's got maybe a little bit more acceleration to take on Trossard. But to be honest, Trossard is a very clever player. and he knows how to find space, gaps, and cut in. And I don't think even James Garner would be a good matchup for him. And I'm very worried about that position. And to be honest, both wings are problems. The only reason haven't talked about the Bukayo Saka side is I suppose that's more the obvious one. And Vitaly Mikalenko, yes, we can say was he worth the money we got him for? But from a defensive standpoint, and occasionally going forward now, he hasn't been the problem for us. So as long as he's fit and able, we'll be fine there. But Bukayo Saka, yes, he didn't score last week, but I guess he induced two own goals. So he's certainly back in reasonable form at the moment. So, and let's see. So you want to give us a halftime summary? I can certainly try. It'll just be a matter of me jumping in between rooms here when I watch the game, come back, and maybe I talk for 5 minutes between shows. And let's see. So Ryan's also making comments to Arsenal drop points a lot so we can get at them. Yeah, I think that compared to a lot of seasons, it is quite open at the top, and I think that makes things quite interesting. So yeah, there's certainly an opportunity to get at them. It's not this infallible, invincible squad by any means, but we have to be on our game for sure. And let's see. Yeah, welcome, David. I'll certainly do what I can there. Boom. Harrison Armstrong. I would really like to see so, because we've been hearing all these trade rumors coming along. It seems like Conor Gallagher's been brought up, and some others. And you think if we can afford to bring in new players, and he's actually developing, and they're happy with that development, rushing him back to the starting lineup because we need him, you'd only want to do that if you can't fill the role. And to be honest, right now, I feel like if Dewsbury Hall comes back in a week by the next match or something, maybe we're just in the precipice of it. If Dewsbury Hall was out for months on end and Merlin Roll wasn't in the picture, I think right now we need to immediately recall to get that depth back. But if we can just skirt by, get Dewsbury Hall back and survive into the January transfer window, and Harrison's getting that development time in the Championship rather than maybe the Premier League, maybe that's the way to go. But I think from what it seems like, he on preseason he was ready, and I would like to see him in. So I'm very much of that line myself. So the unfortunate part, Wormy, and you might well be right. I wasn't able to watch the game back properly. I was at work, unfortunately, so didn't get to see that holistically. But if Miko got shut down or shown up for pace on multiple occasions last game with no Branthwaite to back him up, pace of the wings is kryptonite, and we need pacey fullbacks. Yeah, we need pacey fullbacks, but the reality is the fastest player in our back line is Jordan Pickford, because Michael Keane and Tarkovsky, they're not slow, but they are not pacey either. So that's been a challenge ever since we've lost Branthwaite to his, I believe it was hamstring injuries, that we haven't had someone with that accelerating pace to cover everyone on the back line, especially Mikalenko on that left. And now it's basically you have to play a high line to press, or we sit back and welcome opposition into our half. And I think that's what has happened previously against Arsenal for us, is we've been bossed through that midfield at Goodison a few times, and we've gotten quite frustrated with not being able to come up with answers when Declan Rice has basically controlled that midfield. And I could actually see that happening again. So if we can't control the midfield, and I think to be honest, James Garner and Eric Burnham are well poised and placed to battle in there. But are they going to be as effective as Zubamendi and Declan Rice on the other side? I would love to say yes, but quite likely they'll have the better of us through the middle. So if that's the case, are we dropping back a little bit deeper and trying to hit them on counterattack? And if that's the case, who do we have? It's going to be a Charlie Alcaraz and Barry situation, and Dwight McNeil probably playing quite defensive, and until rare moments where he's playing up, or we have possession in advanced positions, and he'll play that inverted right side. And of course, we expect Jack Grealish to do a lot of hold work play, as he often does. Yeah, so Tazul's bringing up the what has Moyes got against Dibbling, and it's worrying. Not 100% sure if it's anything against him, but we'll talk to it. We have Ryan at the studio looking dapper and ready for. Are you going to a wake, Ryan?
No, I can't say too much on camera, but I've been listening briefly whilst just packing something away, and I've only got 5 to 10 minutes. I just thought I'd join you and get your thoughts. But I didn't actually see the teams apart from the Arsenal team, which I looked at and thought, oh God, Trossard versus Jake O'Brien. I haven't seen the Everton team, but I'm assuming it is that. And I thought it's little versus large, and he really struggles with the midget players who kind of run rings around him.
Yep. Well, it's the old line that I used to talk about Jamie Vardy against Michael Keane, but it's Trossard against Jake O'Brien, really.
Yeah, I've seen
the elephant and the mouse. Yeah. So I see it being a little bit like that. But Trossard, he clearly has ability, but mentally he's a really clever player. You'll find gaps, you'll find your weaknesses, find those uncomfortable positions. A bit like a Foden, honestly, who likes to sit.
But he's not world class.
Yeah, Trossard.
He's not a world class player. I don't want to jinx it, but Grealish and Ndiaye are both better than him. And I think if you asked Arsenal who they'd rather have, they'd probably pick one of those two.
Yeah. But in terms of
take the stupid bow tie off for a second.
Yeah, but because we don't have a traditional right back who can fight, who know how to handle those tricky players that will put you in uncomfortable positions, Trossard will find a way to make it uncomfortable for them. Or all of a sudden, oh, where did Trossard go? Oh, he's at the back post. Like I see that being the type of role that he'll play. But also, I've been bringing him up so much is because he has been scoring goals against us at our at the Everton home fixtures in previous seasons. He's been a kryptonite of sorts by the goals he's been scoring. And that's why I've been bringing him up, because there are other players. Absolutely. At star-studded, they're scoring a lot of goals off set plays. They always do.
Yeah.
Declan Rice has been amazing. Zubimendi's outscored what we expected of him. So there's a lot of caution.
This is because, Chris, a lot of teams play the low block against them and are quite physical. They get the corners, and I think Arsenal have a lot of corners. They'll probably score from a corner. I mean, we've got to be quite realistic here. We can't give them away too many corners. We can't give them away free kicks around the edge of the box because Declan Rice is a very solid free kick taker. So their worries, they've got a lot of strings to their bow from open play. At times, I think they've suffered against teams that have played low block and restricted the space, but I don't even know whether that's the right way to go. I don't think we're going to get anything if we do that. Eventually, they'll pick the lock. In terms of one kind of just giving you a slight bit of positivity, the defense when Gabriel isn't in there is a different side of defense. They do have to reshuffle. I don't think Nkape is quite the same level. And I haven't seen the Everton team. You've got to give me the Everton team, and then I'll be able to kind of.
Yeah, no, I'll do that quickly. So pull that up and pull us to the left. There we go. So Pickford, O'Brien, Tarky, Keane, Mykolenko. So no change at the back. Having Dwight McNeil's fresh face as part of the 11 is part of the challenge here. But what I was mentioning is, would you, and people are going to talk about it in the chat, would you rather Dibbling or McNeil?
No, I think it's extremely predictable, that team. I wouldn't have said he would have done anything other than that, to be honest. That is what I was expecting. I thought he may potentially have gone with Beto just to try and make it uncomfortable physically, but then we're going to be chasing the ball. We're going to need a striker who can get up and press. I think Barry is the one who presses a bit better without possession. And then I thought, well, he doesn't trust Dibbling. There's something about him. Maybe he doesn't trust him to get in the right positions to do the defensive work. I mean, look at Southampton. When he was at Southampton, he was pivotal in a lot of turnovers. But something's badly gone wrong there, because you don't pay 40 million for a player who can't at least have even a small impact. There would have been for me some. Hang on a minute. Why has Asnu not gone to the African Cup of Nations? Is Morocco not Africa? North Africa?
Well, maybe he didn't make the squad.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's
Um,
Moroccan. I just don't think maybe he's just on the fringe of the squad and didn't make it.
so
Probably because he hasn't been playing.
the defense Everton's bench is very weak, but you could say if we're chasing a goal, could we go to back five and put Patterson right wing back just to push us up the pitch to try and get some balls into the box? But then I can't
Could.
justifiably trust Barry to get his head on them and actually hit the target. So he might be utterly pointless. Then I look at Merlin Roll. I think for me there was some temptation there to put him in there because I think he can carry the ball and he is physical
Yep.
and strong. And I know Irabunam played really well against Bournemouth, but he was utterly terrible against Newcastle at home.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of talking points there for me. Michael Keane, we play better when he doesn't play. I know people think he's been amazing, but when he doesn't play, we're better. You know, the whole team has to shift its approach to compensate for the fact this guy is two snails in defence. The back four is horrible to look at. The midfield is not giving me a lot of excitement, and I think what are we going to try and do here? We're waiting for Arsenal to kind of lose the ball and then spring counterattacks. What is the plan?
Well, yeah, and I'm not sure because what I also mentioned is, especially when we've played away, they've come to Goodison Park, in previous seasons. Their midfield shuts us down very effectively. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what it would be because if maybe it's the Jurian Timber, Jack Grealish setup, maybe it's if we're playing low block and we have the pace of Charlie Alcaraz coming through the middle, and there's basically three players going forward at any time, it's going to be Grealish, Alcaraz, and Barry are the only kind of attacking outlets, unless we can somehow basically bring the ball into their half and try and lock them in for a little bit. Because to be fair, that is Eric Boonham's one of his strengths is he is a chaser, a presser, and will basically just agitate and win the ball back in these positions. So if we're going to have any chance, it would be trying to break them down in their half. But how do we get to these positions? It'll happen from time to time. It won't be. Maybe it's a long ball, a one like a header flick on
A long ball won't
Grealish
work
or something.
here.
Oh, but I'm just saying, like a
The
diagonal ball down the channel, win a throw in, and press them in that way. It's
Yeah,
not
it
a
will be
consistency.
percentages, a little bit percentage football, Chris. Irabunam's actually quite a decent footballer in possession. He's just quite bad defensively from what I've seen. But then he surprised me with that Bournemouth game, and that's made me question whether there is ability there and whether it's just about getting the best out of him. So it was like against Newcastle, I was like, what is this? This guy's an absolute joke and responsible for two or three of the goals. And Keane was so bad. But then against Bournemouth, he was absolute monster. So we'll see
Yep.
which version of him we get today. But I do suspect, Chris, that a lot of it will be about trying to maybe O'Brien tucks in as the third centre back. And
And McNeil's a right back or right wing back, actually. Yeah.
well, no, because he's got no right foot, so it's completely flawed. He shouldn't be playing on the right. He should be playing on the left and Grealish in the 10. But then there's no one on the right because
Yep.
Alcaraz is not a right winger. The whole thing stinks, really. But
Well, he doesn't
what?
trust Patterson. He doesn't trust Asnu,
No,
Welsh, or Campbell. So basically, we're playing with 14 players for
I
options,
don't know why he signed these
meaning,
back. The recruitment in the summer is shocking, really, if you think about it. You signed a
well, he
striker who
doesn't
scored
have an
one
option. Yeah.
one in
Oh, go
15, a
ahead.
40 million pound winger who can't get in the team. Apart from Dewsbury Hall and Grealish, it's leaving a lot to be desired. Well, Chris,
Yeah.
the only way I could see us trying to get something here is maybe a little interchange, like you mentioned there, down
Mhm.
the left hand side, trying to play in behind for Grealish, and all of our build up down the left, and then try and get the ball across with the crosses for McNeil, for Alcaraz, for Barry to latch onto. But the build up coming down the left, not down the right, and just play down that
Yep.
left, keep getting it to Grealish, keep getting the overloads, trying to work situations, and then Alcaraz coming in, late runs, Barry between the centre backs. If he goes man for man against one of their centre backs, he hasn't got a chance. They'll be top quality. And to
Mhm.
get McNeil coming in off the right, the McNeil on the right doesn't work because for that to work, Chris, you've got to have someone who can play right back because
Yeah.
he wants to tuck in as like a false winger,
Well,
and then someone else. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, to be honest, and I think this is of course pretty well known for us. McNeil's pace, the only when if he's ever deemed to have any pace, it's more like he runs at 70% speed, but he doesn't have acceleration. So what we know is he won't beat someone to the touchline. So in a way, it's predictable. But if he cuts in, he might be
But we've
more
seen him
effective.
run. We've seen him run with the ball, carry the ball well, and score and assist.
But do we see him taking on the likes of an Arsenal left back?
Who's their left back? Is it Hincape?
I think it's Calafiori. So my guess is no.
They're just going to overload us everywhere. We're going to sit in and hope for the best. I'll let Basil take over now, Chris.
All right, cool.
Thanks.
Hey Basil, how you doing?
See you full
Thanks,
time. Sleep well when you get to. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, we have a beacon of light on above David. You're just like this orb right here. There we go. How you
I just
going?
need to sit forward, don't I?
Yeah, no, it was just funny. You're just like you had a radiating thoughts. You had a light bulb moment. Is what I was going to go with. So, did you see the starting lineups? And what are your
Did.
thoughts for the game?
Well, I saw our starting lineup. I haven't seen theirs in all honesty. Maybe you can
Yeah.
reel that through. But
I'll bring that up quickly. Yeah, so effectively they're very strong. They do not have Gabrielle at the moment, but outside of that, they're effectively about as strong as they can be. Ben White is out injured as well, but I think Timber would be who they would choose first anyway. So
Yeah, it does look that way, doesn't it? Just Gabriel. I thought they had more injuries at centre back than that, but no, that does look like a very strong team. And ours is obviously depleted by various circumstances. So this is going to be tough, really tough game.
yeah, no, it's gonna be tough, but we've seen stranger things. We've been to United and won 1-0. So this is a team that can pull results out from time to time when their backs feel against the wall. Granted, some of the key cogs that make that happen are not available today, but I know it sounds silly, but I'd rather be a little bit pensive and be pleasantly surprised that we actually fork out a 1-0 or a 2-1. In my head, I'm accepting we lose 2-1, but this could, things can happen. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but the odds are stacked against us. So that's how I've kind of set myself. And we've got about 15 minutes to go before kickoff. So you guys put your predictions here in the chat as well, because soon enough we'll probably shut up and get ready for that. So for kickoff. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we somehow pull off some sort of tight result, but at the same time, you got to be realistic, and I think most Evertonians going to the ground tonight will be cautiously attending, hoping for at least a point out of the game, and ideally 3. But I think most are realistic enough to say that Arsenal are top of the league, or not quite after City's win, but they are up there challenging for the title, and they're a class above what we are. So unless they have a bit of an off day and we can somehow find something, but I think the key is learn from the Newcastle and the Spurs games, and not concede poor goals, especially from set pieces, which are arguably their strongest attacking thing. Even though you'd think a side at the top of the league would just be obliterating people with their creative play, it's the set pieces they're so strong on that we've struggled with, particularly at home.
They have excellent delivery. When you have someone like Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka at moments off his left, they're putting the ball in a perfect location, and they'll basically have a lot of moving pieces and create little bits of pockets of space right in front of the keeper. And I'm certainly worried, but yeah, I think what would the word be, Basil? Pessimistically optimistic. If we're a little bit worried that we won't get a result, we are trying to tempt karmic positivity by we don't expect anything, but we'll take everything we get. And that's kind of how I'm feeling about this game. But yes, from set plays, we expect them to be quite dangerous. They're going to be they are going to be quite menacing on both wings as well. Gyökeres, we looked at getting him for a while, and he's clearly a good player, but he hasn't really taken the Premier League by the horns with Arsenal yet. So maybe that's a positive for us. But I see them in the midfield being quite effective. Odegaard, great player. He hasn't really had the impact he had a couple seasons ago, but he's just right on the, sitting there and ready to get going. And he loves a good cutback for a strike from the edge of the 18-yard box as well. So something to be really aware of, the likes of James Garner or whoever's tracking him.
Yeah, there's a few players who I'm thinking, well, where's Eze at the moment? Is he out?
He's on the bench.
He's on the
He's
bench.
just on the bench.
I guess Noni Madueke is on the bench as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
as well.
so they've got quality that can come on. Like you'd think Eze would start the game really, but obviously, I think Trossard has such a good record away from home, particularly at Everton
And against
as
us.
well.
Yep.
And in recent weeks away from home for Arsenal. So I don't know whether that means Gyökeres will score, because Gyökeres has not got the best record so far, and we were linked with him and all that sort of
the
thing.
reverse psychology we've been talking about, huh?
I don't know, but could come from anyone, or maybe it just comes from the complete not in the conversation Saka, who always tends to pop up with a goal for Arsenal anyway, cutting in off that right hand side, as he does so well. But so how do we get at them really? I mean, I watched a bit of Chelsea, Newcastle. Newcastle were all over Chelsea, and they really used the crowd and they used their press to kind of suffocate Chelsea and stop them playing out the back. I don't see that we'll do that, although I'd quite like to see how that would work. Because using them on the back of the tifo and the creative welcome and everything that's gone on today, it would kind of make sense to keep the crowd riled up, drunk, before Christmas, and just use that to your advantage. We sit back too deep. People are gonna be, they know that it's Arsenal, but they're gonna get frustrated and they're not gonna sing the songs and stuff. So there's a degree of me that's thinking, we've got to sort of go at them a bit in terms of how we press. We just have to press as a unit, and we'll be up against a few players going in behind, but we have to take our chances a little bit.
Yeah, and I think your point of we'll have to press them is something that I was talking to Ryan about just before you came on, which is it's critical because I don't. Yes, if we go forward, we have three players going to be doing that, which is going to be Charlie Alcaraz. We'll have Tiana Barry and Jack Grealish. Those are going to be our three attacking outlets. So unless we somehow catch them and they're quite disciplined defensively, we are going to have to find a way to at moments occupy their half, box them in, take the let's call it the scrappiness of Eric Burnham, Charlie Alcaraz, and Garner through the middle to manufacture moments, because I think a lot of the match, especially we've seen that in previous times when Arsenal have come to Everton, but not at this new stadium, they've been able to control the game and basically shut down the Everton fan base. So when you want the 12th man, you want the likes of Stevie, Jan, Madsy, basically roaring, maybe losing some hearing, testing the decibel levels of the stadium and trying to bring Everton into it. But just because they're revved up doesn't mean you're going to hooch it across the line if they don't have an avenue to put the pressure on. So we need to have those moments, and that's the question: how do we get occupied possession? Because I'm not sure we can build up through the middle or the flanks consistently to get the ball there.
Yeah, and we're an outlet down in terms of holding onto the ball with Iliman and Dye, who's pretty good at generally holding the ball up and bringing others around him. McNeil is obviously going to come under the question mark of what he's going to be able to do, and you didn't even include him in your list of players who were able to contribute to Everton's attacking.
Oh, we're talking
play.
McNeil.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure
he will deliver the ball from a deep position to the other three. That's why.
Yeah. But I have to say this. It just fumes me the fact McNeil's going to play on the right. It really gets to me because he's just useless on the right, and it makes him look worse because there's obviously a good player in there. We've seen it in previous years, but he's got quality. He's low in confidence. He's got no pace, and he's one-dimensional. So you put him on the right, and it's really problematic unless is he going to play the sort of hybrid system like he did early on when he came in, Moyes, where he sort of drops three centre backs and puts this overlapping defensive right wing backs type hybrid role? Is he going to get McNeil in there just
Maybe.
defending the whole game and let the other three just kind of you break and
Or
do your
maybe
stuff?
we see Jack Grealish come to the right midfield from time to time and give it a different look as well. Because what we haven't really seen is Jack ever. I mean, I haven't gone back and done any of the video analysis. I just haven't had the time like I used to. But having someone on that right, I think Jack on the right at times could be an interesting look too, just to because I'm used to seeing him occasionally come into the 10, but it's the left side and the 10, and then giving those moments for McNeil to go back to his left side. But
Yeah, I don't see him really getting over there that much, but I think he
No.
gets the pass because he's the key player. But you could see him in the 10, but then I don't really like Alcaraz when he's on the wing either. So I said it
Yeah.
in the summer, I don't really like half our players on the wing. So
Yeah. But Jurriën Timber is so dynamic on the right side that maybe the weakness, and Calafiori is not bad, but I think Timber's another level with his pace and like just
he's arguably a centre back
physicality
as
as
well.
well. That
Yeah,
so he can play center back, but he's a more of a right back. So I think Calafiori's the avenue in on goal. The problem is it's Dwight McNeil on that side. So that's why I'm just thinking what to do there, because maybe it's a matter of Charlie Alcaraz kind of floats around into different positions and occasionally gets overloads. But yeah, let's see. Should we get some score predictions? We've got probably a few more minutes here before we jump on and watch the festivities just before kickoff.
Yeah. Are there any on the people have commented? Or
I
are we doing
saw
ours?
one. I saw a 3-1 from the chat's been really good today. A lot of people in here, especially some of the local. I was about to say the locals, the regulars. I don't know if you're local. You don't have a geotag, but Flashy Original, Daniel Barton, Gas Pipe's been in there. Blue Skies has been back. Blue Skies is predicting a 0-0. Daniel Barton's predicting a 3-1 to Everton. Let's see, anything. Well, I'm seeing a lot of optimism from Gas Pipes today, which is great. I mean, if we divide 27 by 27, I could see a 1-0. I could see a low scoring fixture. I feel it'll be Arsenal 2, Everton 1, but that's that kind of scoreline where a lot of results can happen.
Yeah, it's very hard to predict, isn't it? But I would probably predict the 1-1 because I don't want us to obviously lose. I don't want to go against us, and I think we can offer something. I'd probably take a point. So, but I think it's interesting. Like you look at the results today, there was a lot of low-scoring games earlier. I don't know if that says anything, but we tend to have these weekends where things just seem to happen across the matches, not just in one isolated match, but it happens all over the place. I don't know why, but like a week you can have like a dozen red cards, and a week you have low scoring fixtures. So maybe it will be a 0-0.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is we haven't seen Man United play yet. They seem to score just like bucket loads. So
well, that's
but
tomorrow
they
though.
play
It's
tomorrow, don't
its
they?
own
Right.
day, isn't it? It could be anything tomorrow.
Yeah, but that 4-4 again, like me being away at work, and unfortunately the time zones is tricky because this is 4 a.m. now. That's when I get up for work, and that's when you're trying to capture these games in the middle of the night and just can't, But 4-4 was a wild one too. So there are, and when it comes to Christmas miracles, I have not bought myself, and maybe this sounds blasphemous, that I do not have a Everton Blue Santa hat, partly because I haven't we've kind of relocated here, but I think that's going to be something for next season. But I'm hoping to see a lot of blue Santa hats in the crowd today. I think that'll be a great look.
Yeah. I've just seen there's a bit of the light show has started out, so looks to
Awesome.
be exciting for those who managed to get there.
Yeah, so if that's the case, maybe we leave it there so people can enjoy the light show and basically get themselves revved up and ready for the match. And thank you to all the regulars and those that are newly watching. Appreciate your consistent support to us in the channel, and talk to you here soon enough. And up the toffees.
See you at full time. Up the toffees.
Yeah, see you at full time.